And good evening. Welcome to the MAGA Report, Dave in the AM, the Cornbread Man, here on this hump day afternoon. We have other shows coming as well. We will have the hump day views, followed by the debut of Southern Fried Vent here in just a little bit. I want to get on and talk about a little bit of news today. Also, don't forget, Rob got on earlier today and kind of soapboxed. That's up on most streams. We'll be pushing it out to some others. Kind of a noonday event, getting up on the soapbox about some things that are going on. Of course, the news today has been the ongoing story of the riots and the spread of those riots to other cities, and this weekend's planned demonstrations, protests, whatever you want to call it. Lots of things going on. I do want to dive into some other news a little bit in this edition of the MAGA Report. And we will also look at some of that news as well. But I do want to look at sometimes when something major is going on, some other news kind of pops up. And like to look at a couple of those stories. They've been in the front lines and on the front pages as well. They tend to get pushed back a little bit sometimes when we have something like this going on, which we have been covering and will continue to cover and give the best slant that we can. I think we're pretty much all on the same page of where this is at. I think that all the podcasters are doing a fantastic job of holding the line and spreading the goodwill of conservatism and the rule of law here in America. Whether there'll be a lot of Republicans that won't show up for the parade, the 79th birthday of the president on Saturday. There'll be protests all around the country, continued deportations, and yes, still working on that violence in the street. Was determined today that the military can detain but not arrest under current rules. That could be changed quickly, though, if things deteriorated. Don't think they will. Hope not. Have great hope for my country. Most people are not wanting to cause trouble. They have found the Molotov cocktail guy. They have they're making some arrests, they are still deporting and arresting, and they're doing their job as they should. So we'll sort of continue to look at that as we go. But I do want to look at a couple other news items. Like I said, the continued Russia-Ukraine debacle. That's a lot of words we could use for it. As we have talked about, the problem in this whole thing, and this is no buildup of Putin whatsoever, but the problem in the whole thing has been Zelensky. From the very beginning and continuing on, he portrays himself as this hero of the defense of his country. He's the one that caused the problems in his country. And not that we always want to listen to what Russians say, but when they say something, we should listen to them, and the negotiators have spoken. And there's an article in Zero Hedge, and it comes straight from the lips of the Russian presidential aide, Vladimir Medinsky, who is leading the Russian delegation in the Istanbul talks. So it's viable, whatever he has to say. And his description of what is happening is that Zelensky will not compromise on anything. I said this from the beginning. They had a framework. They were working on something. Now, at one time, it was hoped, because it was talked about, that the issues at hand was pretty much already settled, but just who gets what. Like they knew that what towns were going to go back to Ukraine and the Russians are going to pull out and vice versa. Where was that line going to be drawn? And some other things that go along with it. They seemingly seem like they had a framework for that, but it definitely did not materialize. In fact, the negotiation fell apart and the attacks continued. He spoke to the Wall Street Journal, who released this today, and he conveyed the warning. So it's a warning. We should listen. And made it clear that Russia will never relent until Putin's war aims are achieved. Now, a lot of people have asked about, what are the war aims? What does he want to do? What is it that he's after? There's been talk about it back and forth. Some would say he wants all of Ukraine and hammer across Europe. I've never believed that, although, as war goes, you could have crazy things happen, which would lead to a further escalation to a degree that it would be bad for all involved. But he pretty much spelled it out already, what he wanted and what was what he wanted, and he doesn't want NATO on his border, and he wants to create a buffer zone. Well, that's pretty much what they said. That he will not relent until those war aims are achieved, and the defense of Russia's sovereignty and stability can be assured. And in the absence of that, they're going to continue to pound Ukraine. So this is what a snippet of what he said. He said, with Russia, it's impossible to fight a long war, citing Russia's 21-year war with Sweden in the 18th century as evidence that the country prevails in protracted fights. Well, Ukraine is losing a little bit every day as more and more cities get hammered and destroyed. He says, quote, we want peace, but if Ukraine keeps being driven by the national interest of others, then we will be simply forced to respond. That's when Medinsky also, quote, warned that a lack of compromise, and we know Zelensky has never wanted to compromise. And I'm sorry, dude, you took your shot, you lost. He wants every other military in the region and across the sea involved so that he can have it all and declare himself the hero. He warned that a lack of compromise from Kyiv would only lead to more territorial losses. There's nobody believes that Russia has flung everything at Ukraine that they could, which is evidence that to me, that they're not planning on going across Europe. This would have already been over. This would not have went on over 3 years. It's not probably went exactly the way they wanted. They tried to end it quickly. In fact, when they landed and tried to go on Kyiv, giving Ukrainians credit for and use of our military intelligence, also weapons that we gave them, beat the Russians back. They decided to withdraw and have fought this just battering ram approach, which is their way to just batter cities, take territory, and just outlast you with losses off the scale, because they got more to lose than you do, and we'll just keep going at it. And as long as you want to keep fighting, we'll do it. We're in. We're in it for the long haul. We don't care. Like I said, there's no way. I don't even think with compromise, of course, Zelensky won't compromise. There's no way that Russia will make peace with Zelensky in power, even with compromise, I believe. That's my belief. I'm saying what my belief. You may have a different belief, but my belief is that Putin will not make peace as long as Zelensky's still in power. Now, he wants some other things. He probably would settle for some less thing. But if Zelensky's out of the picture, it would soften a lot of this. So I think that's important, because a lot of people have theorized what's going on. Well, he said this is where we're at. And so there's no sense. They can't have any kind of a peace talk. They can't have any kind of an agreement on cessation of hostilities or a ceasefire or anything if Zelensky tells his negotiators, don't give nothing. I mean, that's the end of the talk. I mean, you have to have some realism here. You might as well not even have the talk. You have to have some kind of a framework that you say, okay, let's start here. And you agree on. The only thing they agreed on was the prisoner exchange. That really doesn't sell anything. It's nice for the prisoners, and you get some wounded back, and you get some men back, but you can go on like that for years. So that's really a non-starter. The start would be, okay, what are you willing to, where are you willing to start? Zelensky says, okay, I realize I don't like it. I mean, he's not going to be there. He's got people there. And they say, we realize this amount of territory from this point to this point, this longitude to this latitude, involving these cities, these communities, we realize we've lost them. And the Russians say, okay, all right, now there's some other cities that we're kind of halfway in or a quarter in. You're 75% in. We'll back out of those. And that's how you kind of negotiate along the way. There are some other things that are going to be I don't think that's actually difficult. I think the lines are pretty well drawn, and Putin is not going to bend on the territory that he's already won. That's not going to happen. He's not giving it back. They're already building up a property there. A lot of the people already speak Russian, and he just feels like that's going to be, one, it's part of the motherland. Two, it's a buffer between Ukraine and himself and NATO and Israel Russia proper. And so who would, there are some other issues. How big can the Ukrainian military be? That's on, he's definitely wanting to talk about that. How, what kind of weapons can they have? And, what do we get? Does he get assurances that NATO won't rearm or try to move forward or put other bases? That's going to be the sticky points that they can get to. For America's part, they could offer up the carrot of releasing some money or reducing the sanctions. This is how you negotiate. You just get there. Somebody gets something. Nobody gets everything they want unless it's a total, complete victory by one side or the other. Then you win. That's the way wars work. You win or you lose, or you have a ceasefire and you figure it out. North and South Korea, nobody got everything they wanted, but the fighting stopped. And so you have that no man's land, the DMZ, that no man can go into, and it's always on edge. These are the things that will happen. It goes on to say, as yet, Ukraine's President Zelensky hasn't so much as offered recognition of Crimea. Man, that's been gone for over a decade as Russian territory. I get it. It makes you sick. You got to look at your people, and you're done anyway. But you got to look at your people and say, we ain't getting Crimea back. I mean, that's first up. And I would agree. They're not going. The only way you do it is a world war. They're not going to give it back. And the world didn't even blink an eye other than to make some sanctions and, put out the typical press release. We're appalled at the taking of territory. The world didn't even flinch. It was like, oh, whatever, we're not going to mess with that. And they just kept poking it, and it's gotten worse. He warned, and certainly he's far away from saying the same of annexed territories in the Donbass, where some fighting still exists, because a lot of that region it's done for. It's already been taken over. This week, it became clear that Russian forces are advancing into Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk region. I probably butchered that. Do the best I can with some of these names, which is a first in the 3-year-plus long war, marking a significant territorial escalation amid stalled peace talks. So while he's stalling, the Russians have been advancing at a faster rate than they did before. They have essentially almost pushed them out of the Kursk region, which is their territory, and they've been making gains in the Sumy region, which is a really sizable city, about 250,000, and the villages and towns around it. They're losing this, and now it won't be much longer. They'll be within range to start hammering Kyiv, and that would be it. That once if they can get that far, it's over. It's absolutely over. Maybe you can say further east of the country. Maybe you save that, but Kyiv is the key, and they're going to keep fighting, and it's going to happen. So this idiot, that's what he is. He's got to be removed. He's got to be taken out of the picture and convinced that, look, dude, it's over. You've lost, and if you stay, we're out. If you care about your country and your people, look, I know it sucks, but you lost, and we're not gonna keep putting money and weapons and losing. We just can't keep going on. The world, it's got to stop. And you know what? It's just what it is. You lost. Be glad you've still got 75% of your country, because that's about 20% is where Russia's at. I figure with negotiation, they're going to end up about 25% of that country. And 75% of something is better than 100% of nothing, is the way I look at it. Unless the nations of the world are going to line up and go toe to toe with Russia, it ain't going to happen. They're not going to be able to push back. They've not been able to push back. Look at all the territory that's been lost. They have fought valiantly. I get it, but they're losing. They're losing ground every day. They don't have the manpower to continue this fight much longer. I believe the lines are already stretched thin, and there's just no more to give. So, at some point you have to say, time out. Let's get this thing settled. He said that the advance serves as a warning to the Zelensky government to accept, quote, realities on the ground, end quote, which is what I was just talking about. These are the realities. He said his words, but But Dixie's words given to a major American publication are clearly another major warning along the same lines. So, yeah, okay, it's Russia speaking, and you could say, well, it's not even Putin, but he's speaking for him. He wouldn't be allowed. He wouldn't make this. Obviously, he wouldn't be talking to them unless he was allowed to. That's not something you do as a Russian presidential aide. So this is also a message to the U.S. And Europe that, look, we're not stopping. We're going to continue the fight until you can get this idiot to make a deal and give up some land, and let's end it. And again, I hate it. I hate it for the Ukrainian people. I hate it for all the losses. There's going to be people that will never be able to go back to their hometown again, whatever's left of it, which for Mariupol was nothing. I mean, I think they reduced it to dust. And that hurts. And that's bad. It's like East-West Germany or wherever you want to go. The people on the ground always suffer the most. And this guy should have no statue, and he should not be in power. But if he stays in power, which I don't think they'll allow it, or they just won't make peace, he'll go in the dustbin of history as a guy who, I mean, he blew it, talked big. He couldn't take care of his own deal, so he wanted everybody else to fight his fight for him. I mean, he said, "We're fighting it, but we need stuff." Well, if you need stuff, why were you pushing that issue anyway? You were not ready. Again, it's like I said last week. When the drums of war start beating, some people jump way before they're ever ready. They're never ready for the punch in the face that they get anyway. I mean, he was in utter shock what happened. That the first month or two of that war was a shell shock to him. He never expected the Russian forces to be moving on Kyiv that quickly. The Chechnyan death squads looking for him in town. Just the carnage that was occurring. He never expected that. He talked me, but it was a shell shock to it. Now his wife said, well, he really held the country together through all that. Well, what he's done, he may have held them together, but he held them together, and they're losing people every day and losing resources and putting the world at risk in that region for the fight over the nuclear reactor and other things we may not even know about that are things that could, bioweapons or whatever that people's talked about with potential biolabs or whatever was going on there. So that's my take. And it seems to, every time that there's a new article or something that comes out, it seems that there's it seems to indicate that it's definitely in the cards that he's not walking away. He's not giving those up. And this is what he expects. And so the NATO has decisions to make. And just because we make a decision doesn't mean that he'll make that, Europe will make that same decision. NATO may go against us on this. And it's going to be interesting to see where he goes with that. So I love to look at news that kind of breaks while really big news is happening in America. And that could go on all day. There's so many things that are rolling out around the world, and you see a lot of this stuff, and it doesn't get talked about as much. But it's important to look at. And there was one other one to look at. I may have to wait and come back to that because there was another thing that I wanted to say, but I may have to come back to it. But I do want to, and I'm looking at some sources that we don't always pull up, which are good. There's another article, and it does bring back to home. It does talk about Gavin Newsom, who he's definitely in the news quite a bit. It's kind of a slap, and this is from Noah Rothman. He says at least Gavin Newsom is having fun. Article earlier today. Hold on. Sometimes things just want to give you a pain. Hang on. I just love technology. You have no problems until you have problems. California's governor is making the most of the spotlight that has been cast on him as Los Angeles enters its 6th day of violent civil unrest. He goes on to say Gavin Newsom's attempt to leverage the emergency facing his constituents has, however, taken a novel twist. Typically, elected officials who are tasked with managing a crisis attempt to project competence and calm. Newsom, by contrast, has treated the riots and the GOP's hostility toward him as an opportunity for comedy. Truth. The governor's press office spent the day on Tuesday populating social media with TikTok videos in which the president's missives, which castigate California's Democratic elected officials and promise to restore order with or without their cooperation, are read in silly voices evocative of characters from the Star Wars franchise. We talked about that just a little bit. By evening, the governor's office had moved on from Trump to Stephen Miller. Well, at least Sacramento is treating the whole violent rioting thing with the sobriety and judiciousness it demands. And they have been filling up the social media. It has been absolutely, it's my social media. I don't follow this loser, but I've had to click off of it. Every time I pull up trying to do some work for the podcast, it was just filled from top to bottom of the page with Newsom, Waters, Bass. I try to follow these people. They've obviously shifted, and not every one of them was that way, but there are some, and they just continue to pop up. So they definitely have put a lot of this out there. He goes on to say it's not at all clear why Newsom's communication staff thought that flippancy was the proper response to a civic crisis in his state's largest city. What delusion would convince them that the emergency is presently facing, one typified by violent attacks on police, proliferate property destruction, mass arrest of lawless demonstrators, and a curfew order for parts of LA, was a moment for levity? Although it serves their political interest to do so, the Trump administration has responded to the violence in LA as though it were a serious emergency. Trump president said if we didn't respond, LA would be gone. Whether that's totally true or not, it definitely was heading in that direction. Although it serves their political interest to do so, the Trump administration responded to the violence in LA as though it were a serious emergency. Doubtlessly, many Angelenos feel the same way. Democrats have responded to this challenge with far less consistency. When they weren't arguing that the riots were no big deal, they claimed that they're only a big deal because Trump is to blame for them. Their messaging always stinks. It's always, and they all have the same talking points. It's like they go in a room and say, we're going to talk about this and this and this. Go. Now they seem to have settled a new line. The riots are funny. Either that or the people who take the civil unrest seriously are a joke. Well, you kind of know where I would fly on that. So I like articles like that kind of look at this from a 60,000 foot level and just, show some of the other aspects of it. You can get down the weeds, but it is important to look at how do these people operate in a national emergency? When our leaders say, remember if you go back to when Hillary was running against Trump, leading up to 2016, remember the whole question was, remember the phone call ad, who do you want picking up the phone, and they were trying to, the Clintons were trying to make the point that experience, been there before, know what I'm doing. This guy's a clown. He's an actor. He's this, he's that. He don't know what he's doing. But when the phone call came in, we know from Benghazi and some other things from Benghazi, they didn't react and people died. And so it turned around to bottom. And that happens every single freaking time. These people come out and they try to act like they're all that. Like, we know what we're doing. He's the clown. We're the smart ones. And they turn around. It's like they just take a hammer and hit themselves over the head with it. Because the more that they do it, the stupider they look. It's like they don't even think. It's like the CNN reporter who claimed that, there was no violence, nothing's wrong, just protest, peaceful protest, and the building's burning behind it. It's that kind of lunacy. It's like the weather people that are acting like they're standing in the middle of, 10 feet of water, or they're floating on a canoe, and people walk by and it's up to their ankles or something, or their calves, and the cameraman, or these guys just come walking through. There's tons of them like that. Or heck, I've seen them where they even had the rain blowing sideways, and they pulled the camera back a little too much, and they had a fan blowing. that's the Democrats. That's what they do, and the more they come out and the more they speak, because they're lunatics, because they don't care about the city. If they did, they'd have already cleaned it up. They would have protected it. They would have took care of the people. But yeah, they say we're here for all Angelenos. Well, here for what? Because you're letting down your constituents, you're letting down your taxpayers and citizens, and so forth and so on, the ones who actually live there and want somewhere decent to live, and you're letting your communities be terrorized. They're so caught up in trying to play this game of we're the party of the people still, when they're not, and it's evident. And even as we said this morning, Senator John Fetterman, Democrat, Pennsylvania, says we're losing the moral high ground here. Yeah, he's a Democrat, sure he is. I don't agree with a lot of things he says, but it's a warning to them and others. Remember when they were coming out the first 2 days and they were running their mouths? Other Democrats were saying, you need to shut up. You're making him look better. And that's what they do. They just I say put a camera in front of every one of them, because the more they talk, the worse they look. The more they talk and the more we can get it out on press around the country, the more people are going to see it. And the more, decent, God-fearing, America-loving, tax-paying citizens are going to go, yeah, see here, look at them. They're stupid. And so, yeah, let's let them expose themselves. We don't have to write the articles. They write the articles themselves. The stories are the videos. They do the work for us. They are more than willing to step up the plate and show you how stupid they are. They do it every single time. We need to just listen more and just let them go on. Just let them go. Just let them go. And say, are you done? Oh, you got more? Okay, come on. Let's hear some more. Because the more they talk, the more they'll just bury themselves. The more they put their big old feet in their mouth. It's not to say Republicans never done it. Sure they have. But they don't do it on a scale that the Democrats do. Now, I will say this. A few years ago, Republicans did it on that scale. It was bad. And we're talking about 25 years ago. The Democrats were masters at that time. I really believe it. Of listening to what the Republicans said and manipulating it to a point and turning it around and using it against them. They did the same game. They didn't come up with anything. They just listened to what the Republicans said. They said, oh, talking point. Let's spin it around, fire it right back at them, and that's our platform. That's all we got to have. And the people will eat it up. And they did in large degrees. It's spun around different this time. The Democrats are just talking, screaming, yelling, threatening constantly. Running down people, good people, like a little boy, who's had multiple surgery for cancer and tumors and whatever else. This is who they are. So you just let them talk. Put microphones in front of them. Put video. They love it. They eat it up. And then when they go, it's like that moment when they do their, because they don't listen to it back. They don't listen to. They have people that listen to the conservative media. They do to listen for anything they can zing back on. Both sides do that. But they think everybody loves what they say. This is the best part. They think that when they speak, it's like the commercial, E.F. Hutton. Everybody listens. They just think, I sound so great. Everybody loves what I'm saying. Everybody's with me. And then they're shocked when their polling numbers by the people that help them, when they bring in those polling numbers, they're shocked. Like, I can't believe this. They didn't understand what we were trying to say. No, we did understand. We totally and 100% unequivocally rejected what you say. In fact, we send it back to you just like you used to do to us, and we say, see, you're stupid. See, Americans, see the citizens? Yeah, we're all in agreement. You're stupid. You're not for America. You're not for me. You're not for the common man. You're not for the working man. You're for other people that aren't even supposed to be here more than you are for me. You're for people across the sea more than you are for me. Let them say their say, and they will bury themselves every single time. That's not. I think there's probably some sharp people on in some areas of the Democratic Party. The problem is those people have no chance of getting any kind of a solid message out, because the ones who are stupid, lunatics, those are the ones that speak and control the speech that the Democratic Party says. And we can say this, we say the same names all the time. We repeat them and we show those videos and we read those articles, and it's a never-ending source. This is what's beautiful about social media today. It's always out there. Oh, they'll delete it, but it's too late. It's captured. And they've already been doing some of that. Posted things. Oh, let me pull that back. And they love to run to their accounts. And a lot of them are on X. They really are. And they will bloviate about something. They'll do 2 or 3 in a row. And they're waiting for the mass crowds, the wind to come back, the cheers to come back. Oh, you're so great. Yes, you nailed it. You just nailed it. The Republicans are horrible. Yes, we bow at your feet and kiss you. And when it doesn't happen, they can't believe it. It's like, what? Let me get back on there again. I got some more to say. They must not have understood me. It's absolutely hilarious. The tragedy of it is, it's a tragic comedy. The tragedy of it is that good people are suffering while this whole back and forth is going on. And so the president is making moves that are solid, that he's trying to save the country and make it better and all that. And then you have all these jacklegs over here, and they continue to do everything they can to tear it down, and places burn. And it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend. I would listen for, obviously, I mean, the speeches are going to be, the rah-rah to that side. I don't really care about that. But listen to what the leaders say about those and how many are going to show up at some of these. I'm sure Bernie will be a one. And I want to hear what they say to the people. It'll be comedy gold. And then at the same time, while these are going on, President Trump is admiring the military parade on his 79th birthday as the tanks roll down, the troops roll down, the helicopters fly over. And we'll just have to watch and see. Will somebody speak in his ear and go, Mr. President, this has happened, and the administration has to go into action really quick. I don't think nothing like that's going to happen. I really don't. They'll talk a big game. They're not going to oppose the United States military. They're not going to do it. They're just going to try to make him look bad. He's absolutely a master at outflanking his opponents, and he's done it once again. Coincidence that he hit that area leading up to the very weekend that the military parade is going on? Coincidence? I think not. He absolutely knew they would respond this way. It's the devil's den. There's other things that's going on around the country, but you knew that area, especially that area, was going to be bad. That's my belief, and my belief only. I'm not speaking for Rob or anybody else. I believe they had a pretty good indicator because they know where to poke that side, and they get the expected response. And he is absolutely the master of the art of the deal. And he knew this parade. Americans love it, but a lot of people don't like it. There's a lot of Republicans not going to show up to it. Check down those names. Let's see who doesn't show up. There's already a lot that says they're not going to be there. They'll make excuses for it. But look who's not there. And watch all the legacy media and what they have to say about it. But they won't be able to do anything about it. It's absolutely going to be fantastic to watch this happen. And they can't do one about it. And celebrating the birthday, the review of the troops and the equipment. And he's got military forces that will be ready to respond anywhere around the country if needed. It's a master stroke, I'm telling you. And just watch him. He's like Teflon Don. He always, whatever they intend for him, it bounces off of him and inflicts damage to them. He is, in that sense, Superman. The more they try to hurt him, the more it blows up in their face. It absolutely does. All right. All right. I have not. I have seen your. I didn't read them. I was just trying to go through some news. I got more. I'm not going to make it, and we do have a show coming up. But let's go through. Michael says Glenn Beck was talking with Central California federal judge, and the whole thing started because they raided a big warehouse. Legal federal. I think. Yeah, you did. I think you did. Again, Michael, I'm telling you, it's no coincidence why this happened the way it did. It's absolutely. Spartan says Stu Peters versus Lucas Gage. Now that's a real conflict. Michael says the guy that it's a teacher called Revolutionary Ron, and he's a Marxist. Okay, thank you. Michael, yes. Who's the they? That would be a key question in that. You don't have to say, because I know it sounds that kind of language evokes. I get it, people, but it's true. They've been after him from the very beginning. But who is the they? We know a couple of entities, but who is the they? Because I think the they could be different people, not people, different entities. I agree. And I really believe in my heart they've already offered him a deal to get out of there. I think the Americans have. I think they've said, hey, look, you know what? Look, man, you'll never want for anything. It's no disgrace, man. Just say, look, we tried. We didn't make it. Step down with honor and say, listen, for the best of the country, I'm going to step down and the elections will go forward. And we're going to put a temporary government in place while that goes on. It'll be watched by, people that are, not have a say in it, both sides, all that, and have, run you a parade through Kyiv. I don't care. And put some flowers at his feet or something, and girls kiss him on the cheek. That's what they would do. I believe he said, heck no, I ain't leaving. And you ain't making me. It's mine. It's all mine. You ain't making me leave. And he has set himself on a course where he will not and he cannot, a little both, whatever, and he will say it'll happen for him. Now he could be forced out. Eliminate is a strong word. I get it, but yeah, but you're right. And Spartan is following up. Putin could have Zelensky killed. He's a long time ago. To what end? I mean, how can you be working behind the scenes together when they put out the hit squads on you, the Chechens? I mean, I get, maybe I could see a little bit of, but unless what would be the end game? That would be my question. If you're going to have them working together, what would be the end game? Because right now Zelensky's getting his butt handed to him. I mean, I would have to, and I get it. I have no problem with you saying it because we all are theorizing about stuff. So that's not a shot. I'm just asking what would be the end game if you're still in here. With all the technology, Putin has not had one call assassinate Zelensky, who travels the world, semi unlikely. Yeah. It's, their way is not always to do the big hit. They've been doing the poison thing, man. I get that, and I thought it was weird for him to leave the country, but we've also moved people in too. So maybe the escalation that could happen if he had done something like that, he didn't want to push that far. Just guessing. I mean, he wants to show toughness, but I really don't think that he wants to take on all of NATO. And if, God forbid, there was a NATO member on the flight or something, and they didn't know it, or maybe they did, like the Georgia senator they took out, and they did, then the consequences would be he would have a lot more on his hands than he has today. So I don't know. Hey, the biggest conspiracy of all, there's a whole channel devoted to it on Telegram, is that Putin died months ago, maybe even a year ago, and this guy's a body double, and the generals are running this thing. They say he was sick. He had all kinds of diseases, and I'm not saying it happened. I'm saying that that channel says he died. He died. But so you get that. I mean, they say that who was it that Paul McCartney is a body double, right? Hey, we could talk theories, right? True. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. True statement. From Maryville, Indiana. Well, I hope you're having a merry time there, my friend. God bless you, Taris, and you are awesome. New scum is yes. Broski Bear. When I see Harvey Weinstein in the news, I always think it's Kamala's husband. That's a good point. That's a good point. They want to get dirty. Oh yeah, absolutely. Spartan, I don't think that if somebody's got that thought to do that, that what again, yeah, the losses I would think they'd want a lot more than what they've had. I mean, I know your push on this. I get it, and yes, there is a cultural revolution against certain groups, sure, but if that were true, wouldn't we have like a nuclear bomb or something go off? I mean, so, but hey, it's your day. It's your comment. Who am I to dismiss it? I don't know. CIA has body double disguise capability for decades. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I love all these videos. Supposedly Joe Biden's mask coming up. Come on, people. Does anybody believe that? I don't know. Anybody believe that Joe's really not there, and it was a double? It's like the movie Dave. The president is on life support. He's going to die. Well, there's all kinds of capabilities there, Spartan. I agree. But there's all kinds of ways to do that where it wouldn't be as harmful. Different kinds of, I say nuclear. They got a lot of capability. What did I miss there? Okay, clarify. So it may, I'm not that smart of a guy. Yeah. You got to help me, broski. Well, there was people who showed that, the 6'6" body double for different size, different ears. Yes, truth. Been working on that for a long, long time. Truth. And I am sure helped those countries that used it on their citizenry. I would say that Russian scientists were involved in helping certain countries get theirs off the ground to some degree, germ and biological. I am sure. That has been, the latest thing. Clarify how you interpreted my dirty comment. What did you think I was referring to? I was just saying in general. I meant like you have someone that'll get down. It's the Chicago way. You get dirty, I get dirtier. I mean, that's the way I took it. Like you got a fighter here that will, whatever you do, I'm going to up it. I'll get dirty. I'll get in the muck. You're not out, batting me. Maybe I took it wrong. So I didn't mean in a. Okay, I just didn't clarify. I get that. Hey, there's two things I know, and you just read about them, and you can kind of see how they carry themselves. Saddam Hussein was a huge fan of the movies The Godfather. He loved that mafia mentality. He's wearing the suits, the smoking the cigars, all that. He ate that up. I believe Vladimir Putin is the same kind of cat. I do. I think, you know, you do this to my guy. That's been the Russian way anyway. You go way back. I mean, you could go back decades. And if someone killed a Russian, they'd kill 10 of yours. You kill another Russian, it's 100 of yours. They've been doing that for a long time. So that's the KGB right there, baby. That's in here and in here. He definitely is has no problem getting dirtier. Good term. Thank you, Broski. I try. I am here for us to have dialogue and discussion, and sometimes there's a method to my madness. Sometimes I throw stuff up on the wall to see what sticks because it brings good conversation, and people go, "No, Dave, that's not going to happen." Blah, blah, blah. It didn't mean that I really believed it anyway. I just wanted to provoke thought. I do that sometimes. Now, sometimes I'm telling you exactly how I feel. When I usually say the term, "This is my opinion," I'm telling you exactly how I feel. Other times I may be just putting ideas out there. It's fun to talk about them. I've always tried to read between the lines of an article, a story, someone's speech, and the more you kind of build a character statement about somebody, you look at past examples of what they've done, you look at all the tentacles of who they're connected to. It's pretty easy to get a biographical sketch of these leaders and anybody else, and they usually stay pretty straight on. They don't deviate very much, right? So the thought that all of a sudden a Newsom is going to turn the leaf and all of a sudden see the light, and he's going to come to the light, the light side from the dark side. It's not happening. It's who he is. And you can say that about anybody. Now, that people do change, certainly. But some people, there is no hope. They've already been turned over to the reprobate mind, and they will do what they're not changing. Vladimir Putin ain't changing. He would never change. That cat, you can read him like a book. Now, how does he roll things out? We may not know the game plan, but we kind of know what he's going to do and how he thinks about it. I mean, he's really not that hard to read. Really, nobody is, if you really, and I'm not an expert, if you really pay attention, most people flinch just enough on certain things that it gives away their intention. That's why they say you got to have a poker face, right? Very few have a true poker face. It's not even the face, even, it's everything else, right? A really good person, a person that's why these people that really read body language and movements and voice inflections and really do a biographical sketch on their opponent, they don't lose much because they pick up on every single thing that cat does. Even when they think that they're being the best with their sunglasses on and all that crap, they're reading them. It's amazing. I knew a guy who was a former Marine. He was an expert at this. I could sit and talk to this guy for hours. Amazing dude. He runs a helpline for companies for their employees, among other things. He helps companies get out of employee trouble. He turns the morale around. A freaking Marine. This he's wrote books. He's an amazing guy. I think he's still living. He's not much older than me, or he might be a little younger than me. I don't know. And I'm still living. Broski Bear, I was a big mafia guy, or movie guy, movie guy. Yeah, man, my eyes ain't working. Big mafia movie guy. I know them all. My nickname is Vladimir. No joke. You know what? It does not shock me. I don't know why. I've never met you. I've never seen you, but I'm not shocked by that. Although I wouldn't have known it was to that level. And you've watched more than I have. I haven't seen them all because I got to tell you about me. This is amazing. We link up so well. I'm a big fan of the Godfather movie, the trilogy. Big fan. I've watched 1 and 2. I dare say over 100 times each. If that's on, I have to watch. There's other ones I've watched as well. Now it may shock you. I didn't. What was the one that was on TV that just ended here a couple 3 years ago? I didn't, believe it or not, I never watched it. I was usually working when it was on, I think. Because I take things from 0 to 100 right away. At times I tend to take it to the umpteenth level right away. That's Vladimir. Hey, that's cool, man. If you can't spot someone's tail in the first 30 minutes, you're the sucker. Ooh, that is a great comment. That dude is absolutely a great comment. And you know what? I agree with you. Because people cannot hang on that long. Even if they're really good in the first few minutes, it doesn't take long for them to fall back. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm not saying they were even trying not to. I was at a meeting recently, room full of people. One person in the room couldn't hear the news yet that everybody's going to hear. So they run a ruse to get this person out of the room. It seemed odd to me because they were the only one that left. They're like, well, we got something else for them to do. And they're on a different level. But I thought, that's odd. Why would they do that? I picked up on it. Like, it was like, something's up. And body language by the people, I saw a little more tension, a little more. I could tell that they were getting ready. The facial, everything changed. The whole room changed. And they shared some news, which it doesn't matter. It actually was good news, but the people couldn't hide the fact that they were that they were fixing to share something. So this is what I told everybody: you cannot talk about this. This is on Thursday. You cannot talk about this till Monday. Now, I will tell you about me. If you tell me, broski, if you called me and you said, Dave, I'm going to tell you something. I need your word that you'll never tell another living soul. I won't do it, bro. I won't do it. This is something that my wife had to figure out about me and being in ministry. There's some things I said, you're going to have to understand. There's some things I can never share with you. You're my wife. I understand. But I've given my word. And I won't, because it was so hurtful to them. They just, please, you can't. Don't even want you telling your wife. Please, just keep this in your heart. I want you to know. And I have. I'll go to the grave with those things. Some people can't do that. And so it wasn't 10 freaking minutes. One of them had already, in talking, revealed it. Not the exact words, but revealed it. I was like, oh. They got so caught up in their own thing. They knew not to do it, but their mouth. And then about 45 minutes later, a second person did it. And I looked at the leaders and they're like, okay, Pete, you're right, man. I could talk all day about this. I don't have time. We got to flip around for the next show. But I love the talk, man. We're going to have a show one night and just talk about the mafia and the movies and TV shows. Donnie Brasco and The Bronx Tale are two of my favorite mob movies. We're going to do this, dude. Godfather 1 and 2 are great. Yeah, what happened to 3, man? 3 had potential. I love the early part of the movie. The interaction between the new young guy, the Sonny's illegitimate. I thought that part was good. It was the whole backdrop. It was boring. I just didn't care for it. But you are right. Those first 2, man, I love them. I love them. That tail comment is a line from a movie. Do you know which movie? I don't, brother. I really don't. I missed it. I like it, but I don't. Gosh, I should know that. You'll have to tell me. I got to go off here in a couple minutes. Tell me or hold on to it. We'll talk about it during the Mafia We're gonna do this, man. We'll do it next week. We'll take one of our shows and we'll talk about mafia movies, TV shows, Rounders. Okay. Honestly, I don't think I've seen it. I have to get caught up to talk to you about some of these because some of them I haven't seen. Uh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think that would be interesting. We I like to throw curveballs anyway, and we could have a talk about we could the first would just be we'll talk about Godfather, the first movie. Or there's so much there, we'd make a whole show out of that. The characters, the backdrop, some of the things that are not really said but happen, and you see them, and oh yeah, and we could do character. My favorite line from The Godfather One for the comedy part is uh, his idiot brother. He says, "I know stuff. I'm smart. I was passed over." No, you're stupid. That's why you were passed over. You don't have what it takes. You think you're smart, but you're not. He's really weak. I mean, this guy got beat up by his wife. That's pretty bad. I'll save it. Gotta get off here. Hey, update news in 30 minutes. Views, sorry. And round two, second hour, the debut of the Southern Fried Vent. Bring it. Vent about whatever you want to vent about. Al Pacino's greatest role was Lefty and Donnie Brasco. Okay. On that, folks, we go out. I got to get the music playing. I've got to get the others updated. Rob be giving about 15 till. I'm usually the one that gets all the strings ready. So, hey, I love it. Love you guys, gals, and whoever's watching from wherever you're watching from. This is great therapy for me. Come home from work and just get on here and go for it. So we will have another show, big show. It's our hump day show, but it's a debut of a new show too. So just remember the Southern Fried Vent will be Rumble only. We'll drop everything but Rumble. We'll still be going through StreamYard, but we'll have Rumble playing. And then the second part of that will go premium behind the paywall. Hey, you got to do it sometimes. So y'all take care. We got with some music here. This has been great. I love it. Take care. Another MAGA report tomorrow. Probably around this a little bit, probably hopefully 6:30, somewhere in there. We'll continue the discussion. We might talk mafia too. See ya.